Switzerland, they had brotherly love. They had 500 years of democracy and peace. And what did that produce?
Roger Dubuis. Thank you for watching What Spirits Tokyo. Here I am at the Roger Dubuis booth, and I have the honor of meeting Mr. Sadri. He's the Chief Marketing Officer of Roger Dubuis.
Thank you, Naomi.
Thank you. It's lovely to meet you. How should I do this?
It's a pleasure to welcome you in our
Thank
world.
you. And well, first of all, I think if you could give a little bit of introduction for yourself to the audience.
For sure, for sure. So my name is Sadri, as Naomi just mentioned to you. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Roger Dubuis, joining that maison since, let's say, 7 years now, and honestly, believe me, it's a crazy journey. As you can imagine, and I think you see the background behind us, it's one of the most expressive maisons that you can really experience in that kind of salon. And I think it's the perfect, point of balance between tradition and the futuristic approach of watchmaking. As I said, in that position, I try to translate what is all about obsession for fine watchmaking projected into the future. So with my team, I'm, as I said, trying to connect those métiers coming from traditions to also all the new métiers. I'm talking about digitals, I'm talking about events, hospitalities, to be sure that every single visitor has an experience. They will understand, of course, that we are doing crazy timepiece, but on top of that, it's much more the starting point. We are used to say, and I'm gonna promise you that if you spend a few minutes with us, that will be the best way to experience hyperology.
So maybe in that case, could you give us like a short tour of the experience of Roger Dubuis?
With my pleasure. That will be a fantastic tour. You will see something that you've never seen before.
Great,
Please,
thank you.
come with me. I think it's really something that's a step ahead within the industry. Maybe we can have a stop on the first showcase here, because you need to understand the reason why we claim that we are the hyperology inventors. What does that mean, hyperology?
I need to know.
It's a simple combination of three things. First, traditional complication, haute horlogerie.
Right.
The second one is all about expressivity. In our own language, is all about skeletonized approach. And we define ourselves as skeleton makers. And the third one, we talk about contemporary, modernity. And if I have to translate that into our own words, into the watchmaking industry, it's straight lines, flat surfaces. So when you have that ingredients, you can cook a recipe which is unique to Roger Dubuis, is a traditional complication mixed with an approach of skeletonized and then composed by straight lines and flat surfaces. This is all about hyperology.
There we go.
There we go. Here, as a first introduction, I'm gonna present you an Excalibur monobalancier. And here you find the ingredients I just mentioned. You see through the watch very minimalistic backbones, which is part of the engine of the watch.
It's breathtaking how just everything is constructed. Now I'm losing my words.
Exactly. It's really an architecture which is absolutely linked to our own maison. And that's the symbol of who we are. I'll give you a little, let's say, advice and a hint regarding Roger himself as a watchmaker. He developed on shelf all the classical traditions, complication that you can imagine. But at a certain time, it's okay. Cool, complication is cool, but it's not enough.
I agree.
How we can have our own style. And he brings this specific way to skeletonize that kind of piece with straight lines and flat surfaces. But as he's a watchmaker, I mean, when you're a watchmaker, you could be obsessed by three simple things. Please follow me.
All right.
I said three things could be obsessed as a watchmaker. The first one is how you can storage your energy.
Storage, of course.
Of course. And there is few, let's say, competitors who provide solutions about how you can longer power reserve, as an instance, or new way, innovating way to storage your energy. Then you can be obsessed also to the transmission, how you can have better gears, better efficiency in transmitting the energy. And last but not least, maybe the most complex one is all about the heart of the watch, the performance, the regulations.
Right.
Roger himself was focusing his attention on the regulation, which is, that beauty elements here called the tourbillon. When you focus attention on regulations, in fact, there is a negative effect that you try to fight against, which is called the gravity.
Of course, the G.
Exactly. So how you can decrease the gravity thanks to a new mechanism, and of course, maybe the most famous one is tourbillon. But here at Roger Dubuis, since years now, we try to develop new alternatives to the tourbillon to compensate the negative effect of the gravity within the accuracy of the watch, keeping the style that we just mentioned. Here you have a single flank tourbillon following the same architecture that you have seen on the Bono Balancier right before.
Well,
Please.
well, to confide to all of you, well, actually, this is my very first time to visit and see an actual Roger Dubuis, mini Roger Dubuis watches. And I learned that you have high horology techniques, but like you're also very, very innovative. And now I'm actually really feeling that.
Perfect. I think you also feel through that kind of universe. We are here at the heart of the Hyperlife factory. As said, it's really the merging point between past, present, and future, and that open, limitless territories for the future of that industry, with a lot of respect of traditions. But of course, when you have that expertise, then you can imagine what could be the next, going beyond. And this is exactly all about Roger Dubuis. Maybe we can go to the next showcase,
Great.
and
What
you will
is
see.
that?
Even it's cool, huh? It's a motion window, and I think that's also bring new perspective of how we can display our own timepiece. Motion is part of our own DNA. Everything is movements, everything is about how we can mastering the time, and then back to gravity, how we can fight against the gravity. On that showcase, which in fact will come to us in a couple of seconds, you will discover a double flying tourbillon.
Oh, you were like signature, like the double tourbillon.
Exactly. We are very well known for the double flying tourbillon, which is really, our Picasso. It's a piece of art, you know what I mean?
I understand.
And that is feasible only thanks to all the expertise that we have since 1995. Come on, please.
Come to Papa.
Here you will discover, those famous double flying tourbillon symbolized at 6 o'clock, following the same philosophy of really minimalistic architectures with the star signatures, also certified by the Poinçon de Genève. Maybe you know it, but the Poinçon de Genève is the highest certification that you can imagine within the industries. Only few maisons has this certification, and all the pieces that you just discovered are certified by the Poinçon de Genève.
That's one of the most impressive things about your maison, I've learned.
Absolutely. It's for me how we integrate all the tradition of the watchmaking industries within a very contemporary and modern approach. Here you will discover this famous double flying tourbillon coming down, 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 down slowly.
There we go.
Exactly. And here you can see same kind of signatures playing with ceramics, so the case in ceramics, encapsulating all the beauty of that piece of art with those famous signatures of the flying tourbillon at 6 o'clock, let's say at 7 and 5. And that's really something that our maison is very proud of. So when you have that expertise, when you master to collect the energy, you master then have system fighting against the gravity with single and double flying tourbillon, then you can imagine what will happen into the future. And this is the reason why we stage our expertise in that factory and giving birth to the concept watch. So that concept watch, in fact, is loaded with innovation. The idea is really to incubate all our innovation in one single crazy piece that we call the monovortex.
The monovortex?
The monovortex, exactly. And what is all about monovortex is something that's an alternative to the tourbillon. It's another system which is fighting against the gravity, and when in fact it's turning on this kind of a conical trajectory, which in fact puts the heart of the watch in the best condition ever regarding the accuracy of the watch. But on top of it, we also reinvent the oscillating weight, how we can capture the energy and how we can beneficiate of the gravity. With this cylinder that we put at 12 o'clock of the watch, in fact, we optimize the position of the oscillating weight on that specific piece. And when we start that project, we say, okay, those two innovations crazy, they are patented, it's only developed under our own roof. We decided to associate those two innovations with one of the most famous complications, which is the speed chronograph. Then you have a speed chronograph with a new regulations, with a new way to capture the energy, encapsulating in a very, let's say, strong look. And you see the red and gold touch. So the red is a new material that called MCF, which is a composite material made of quartz fibers with a specific composite, then allowing us to have something lighter than carbon, but also having a look here with a touch of red to increase the contrast and show to people that really we are anchored into the future.
And see that.
And that's all about Roger Dubuis.
Thank you. It looks like something that transform you into a hero.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's all the expertise concentrated into one single object, which is that crazy monovortex chronosplit second. And as a stage, in fact, we decided to put at the center of the booth with this kind of huge cylinders, and you see that it's turning. It's how we stage the vortex, this kind of thunderstorm. And then at the end of the day, a fraction of those energy going to the pipe, following the pipe, and getting down to the bar in order to provide you a shot of hyperlife.
I really wish that I had the chance to put it on my wrist, but since this is like super precious to be in the case. But I have been learning about watches, but my profession was a little bit with the men's fashion, and this is such a unique piece, and I'm wondering, how would you wear this, if you were to have the piece? Could I ask about that?
You talking about the style?
The style, how would you, put it in your daily life, or what occasions will you take it to?
It's a very interesting question, because we said that at Roger Dubuis, our own creation is increase your personal style. Meaning that it's all about a combination of elements that could be your dress, that could be your items, and then thanks to those creations that even strengthen your own personality. Then here it's all about having something sophisticated, with also loaded with freedom, a touch of craziness, and of course a lot of pleasure.
Right.
I think all about Roger Dubuis is being obsessed by detail, but in a very, let's say, easy way. You know what I mean? So I think that's fitting also with the new audience, the new generations. And maybe but we are a pretty young brand.
I know.
And that is exactly for us obvious to have the behavior of those new generations, which is maybe different in terms of feeling and values than our, let's say, sister brands, which also have a huge heritage. We do not have a long history, but I think it's an advantage, because now we can adapt to the new audience, to the new generation, and fit with their own style and expectations.
And creative, powerful, and forward, I believe.
Exactly.
But it has also heritage and very sure techniques.
Absolutely. It's all about having strong basement within the technique, but having the ability to reinterpret that strong heritage within something modern, adapt to the current world, and with, let's say, the current audience, which from my perspective fits perfectly with the global mood of the world.
Yeah, the COVID is finally over. Thank God. I know. So, and especially coming from Japan, we're still kind of wearing masks, but now I can feel that it's almost over.
Absolutely. And you know what? During that couple of days of the fair, we see, new visitors coming to us. And I think, the quality of the questions, the interest for industries is very high. And, that makes me feel very happy.
Me too. And since, we have smartphones and other devices that, can tell time very accurately. So watch has kind of become an item that is not a necessity.
It's a symbol.
Yes, it represents yourself, so you need to
Absolutely.
choose what to wear carefully.
Exactly,
Because-
exactly. And I think Roger Dubuis is a step through a journey. I mean, maybe you will start with something much more conventional, and then you develop your own taste. And when you are ready to have something very exclusive, respectful of tradition, but definitely anchor into the future, then you are most welcome to Roger Dubuis. And I think, I mean, Japanese culture are very sensitive, you know, to the watchmaking overall, and they know what we are doing. So I think we are also fitting with your own, let's say, attention to details.
I understand. Well, thank you for saying that. That's really, a compliment, I think. But
the truth.
well, I really love to ask more questions to you, but time-wise, I kind of have to wrap up. But so, lastly, could you give our audience, a warm message? Well, we have Japanese audience, but international audience.
Okay.
So, if you could give a word.
Wow. So first of all, it's an honor to be with you for a couple of minutes here. I think and I hope that you discover a new maison loaded with something interesting and that you won't be able to find elsewhere. And thanks to you, I mean, to give me the chance to say, first, take care. Second, stay tuned with us because we'll open the world of hyperology. Thank you and see you soon.